The crash in the humanite was a dark, quiet night in the middle of a deep forest. The wind moved slowly through the tall trees, owls hooted in the distance, and all seemed peaceful. But suddenly, a bright light appeared in the sky. It moved fast. Like a falling star. It wasn't a star, it was a small spaceship. Spinning and shaking as it crashed through the sky, a loud boom followed as it hit the ground, breaking trees and sending smoke into the air. Inside the small ship was a young alien girl. Her name was Zara. She opened her eyes slowly, her head hurt, her hands were shaking. She looked around, the control screens were broken, sparks flew from the wires. The ship was badly damaged. "I'm alive," she whispered, but she was scared. Very scared. Her people had always warned her, never go near humans. Humans were dangerous. Some stories said humans ate aliens. Others said they captured them and used them for strange science. Zara never believed those stories before, but now, she was on Earth, and she was alone. Zara looked at her wrist. Her device was cracked, but still working. It sent a small signal into space. "Please," she whispered. "Someone, please find me." But the forest was silent. Suddenly, she heard a sound outside. Crunch, crunch. Footsteps on the dry leaves. Zara froze. Her heart beat fast. Something or someone was coming. She crawled to the back of the ship and peeked through a broken window. She saw a figure walking slowly between the trees. It was tall, 2 arms, 2 legs, a human. Zara's eyes widened in fear. She backed away quickly and hid behind a metal seat. Her hands covered her mouth. She tried not to breathe loudly. The human came closer. He stopped in front of the ship. Then, very slowly, he opened the door. Creak. Light from a flashlight entered the ship. Zara screamed. The man jumped back, surprised. Zara screamed again, thinking, "This is it. He will take me. He will eat me. I don't want to die." But something strange happened. The human didn't attack. He didn't run either. He stood there quietly and said, in a soft, calm voice, "Are you hurt?" Zara didn't answer. The man took a small step forward. "I'm not going to hurt you, I promise." Zara couldn't believe it. His voice, it was not angry, not scary, it was kind, but she still didn't trust him. She closed her eyes tightly. Suddenly, her body felt weak. The crash, the fear, the pain, it was too much. Zara fainted. Everything went black. Later, she woke up. Her eyes opened slowly. She was no longer inside the ship. She was in a small wooden room. It smelled of fresh wood and something warm. A soft blanket covered her. There was a small fire in the corner, glowing gently. She sat up quickly, looking around in fear. She saw him, the human. He was sitting on a chair, reading a book. When he saw her awake, he smiled. "Hey," he said, "you're okay." Zara grabbed the blanket and pulled it tightly around her. She moved to the corner of the room like a scared animal. "It's okay," he said again. "You were hurt. I brought you here to help." Zara's eyes filled with tears. She didn't know what to believe. The man stood up slowly and walked to the table. He picked up a small bowl. "Soup," he said, "not poisoned, just warm soup." He placed it near her and backed away. Zara looked at it, then at him. Why was he helping her? Why wasn't he angry? Why wasn't he doing the things her people said humans did? She touched her arm. It was clean, with a bandage. He had taken care of her. Still, her heart was full of fear. Then he said, "My name is Daniel." He pointed to himself. "Daniel." Then he pointed to her. "You." Zara didn't speak at first. Then, very quietly, she said, "Zara." Daniel smiled. "Nice to meet you." Zara, she didn't smile back. But she didn't run either. In her mind, she was thinking, maybe he's different. Maybe not all humans are monsters, but she still didn't know the truth. Outside, the wind blew through the trees again. The forest was quiet, but danger was not far. And Zara didn't know this was only the beginning. A human home. Zara sat in the corner of the wooden cabin, her body shaking under the blanket. She didn't know what time it was. Outside, the wind howled like a warning. Every creak of the wooden floor made her flinch. Her eyes stayed on the human, Daniel, sitting across the room. He wasn't doing anything dangerous. He was just sipping tea and reading a book near the fireplace, calm, quiet. But Zara couldn't relax. Her mind was filled with fear. Why is he being kind? She wondered. What does he want from me? Her people warned her again and again. Humans are clever. They trick you with smiles. Then they take what they want. She stared at the bowl of soup on the small table in front of her. Steam still rose from it. Her stomach growled, but she didn't move. Daniel looked up. "You should eat. You've been out for a whole day," he said gently. Zara didn't answer. He stood slowly and walked to a small shelf. He picked up a folded blanket and placed it near her. "You don't have to trust me," he said. "But it's cold tonight and you need rest." Then he walked to the other side of the room and left her alone. Zara blinked. Her thoughts were loud. If he wanted to hurt me, he had the chance. He didn't. Why? She picked up the soup slowly and sniffed it. It smelled good, like vegetables. Nothing like poison. She took one tiny sip, warmth filled her mouth, she waited, nothing happened. No pain, no tricks, just soup. For the first time in 2 days, she felt something strange, safety. Hours passed, Zara fell asleep with one eye open. The next morning, sunlight touched her face, she woke with a start, for a moment. She forgot where she was, then she remembered the crash, the man. The forest. Daniel wasn't in the room, she stood up quickly. Her legs were weak, but she forced herself to walk. She searched the room, there were books, tools, clothes, but no weapons. The door was half open, she peeked outside and saw Daniel chopping wood. She turned back and opened a drawer near the wall. Inside were metal tools, sharp ones. Her hands trembled as she picked up something that looked like a knife. She stared at it. This is it, she thought. He is going to cut me. These tools are for me. Footsteps behind her, she spun around. Daniel stood there staring at the tool in her hands. They both froze. Zara's heart raced. Then Daniel spoke. You found my medical kit, he said calmly. That's for treating cuts and wounds. He walked forward slowly. I'm not a doctor, he said, but I know a few things. Your leg was bleeding. I used that to stop the infection. Zara didn't move. She looked down at the tool in her hand, then back at him. His voice wasn't angry, it was tired. She put the tool down. Daniel nodded and walked to the table. He placed 2 cups of tea and sat down. Sit if you want, he said. Zara walked slowly and sat across from him. A long silence filled the room. Then he said, Where are you from? Zara looked down at her wrist device. The screen was cracked. A small red light blinked slowly. Far away, she said. You wouldn't understand. Try me. Daniel smiled. She looked up at him. For the first time, she saw something in his eyes. Not fear, not hate, curiosity. My planet is called Valera, she said. My people sent me to observe Earth from orbit, but my ship was hit by a storm. I crashed. Daniel blinked. He didn't laugh. He didn't doubt her. Valera, he said softly, sounds beautiful. Zara was surprised. Most humans would panic, but he looked impressed. Why do your people fear us? He asked. Zara looked away. Because we've seen what humans do to what they don't understand. Silence again. Daniel took a slow breath. I guess that's true, he said, but not all of us are the same. Zara wanted to believe him. But deep inside, she couldn't forget the stories, images of her ancestors being hunted, captured, experimented on. Then something beeped. Both their eyes shot to her wrist device. The red light had turned blue. Zara gasped. The signal. She whispered, It's working, someone's listening. She tapped the device. It glowed faintly. A message blinked. Weak signal detected. Stand by. She looked up at Daniel. My people may come for me, but Daniel didn't look happy. Instead, he walked to the window and looked out. Zara followed his gaze. Outside, across the distant trees, 2 black trucks moved slowly through the forest. No headlights, no noise. Daniel spoke in a low voice. Those aren't your people. Zara stared, heart pounding. Then who are they? Daniel turned to her. People who did see the crash. People who will take you. Just like your story said. Zara's skin turned cold. They're coming for you. Not what she expected. The wind outside had changed. It was no longer soft and calm. Now it carried a warning. Zara stood frozen near the window, staring at the black trucks creeping through the forest. They moved slow, quiet, and careful. Like hunters. Daniel stepped back from the window, face serious. They'll be here before sunset. Zara turned to him. Who are they? Government, Daniel said. Or worse, people who don't wear name tags, people who don't ask questions. Zara's fingers curled into fists. They came for me, Daniel nodded. And if they find you, they won't give you soup. She looked at her wrist device. The signal blinked weakly. Help was still too far. Panic rose in her chest. I need to run, she said. Daniel placed a hand on her shoulder. You won't make it far in the woods. Not in your condition. Zara pulled away. I can't stay here. They'll catch us both. Daniel's voice turned firm. Let them try. Zara stared at him. Why was he risking his life for her? She sat down, shaking. Daniel knelt beside her. Listen, my dad used to work for them. Secret jobs. I know their patterns. We still have time, not much, but enough. To move where? A safer place. Old storm shelter, buried under the hill. They won't find it unless they already know it's there. Zara hesitated. Why are you helping me? Daniel looked her in the eyes. Because when I saw your ship in flames and I saw you scared, I didn't see an alien. I saw someone who needed help. She looked away. You're not what I expected. Daniel smiled. You're not either. They packed quickly. Only food, water, and a map. Daniel grabbed a small toolkit. And Zara took a broken piece of her ship's console. It might help boost her signal before leaving. Daniel walked to the fireplace and lifted a loose tile. Beneath it was a small, dusty box. He opened it and pulled out a silver key and an old photograph. Zara peeked. The photo showed Daniel as a boy standing with a man in a lab coat. Behind them, a white wall with alien symbols carved in stone. Zara's eyes widened. That writing. It's Veleron. Daniel looked at the photo quietly. I didn't understand it then, but my dad did. He tucked the photo into his bag and whispered, I think he knew about your people long before the rest of the world did. The forest was colder now. Shadows grew longer as the sun dipped below the trees. They walked fast, sticking to animal paths. Birds flew away in silence, a sign something worse was coming. Zara kept glancing behind her. She didn't trust the silence. At one point, they heard a low humming sound. Daniel pushed Zara behind a tree and crouched beside her. A black drone flew above them. No lights, no noise. Scanning the ground. Daniel pulled out a slingshot from his bag and quietly aimed. A small metal ball flew into the air, hitting the drone's propeller. The drone spun, sparked, and crashed into the trees. Zara stared. That was lucky. Daniel grinned. That was science class. Finally, they reached a moss-covered hill. Daniel dropped to his knees, feeling the earth. He found a metal ring buried under leaves. He pulled, and a small square door opened, revealing stairs going down into the dark. Inside was cold and quiet. The walls were lined with emergency supplies and tools. Dust covered everything. Daniel turned on a lantern. Not home sweet home, but it's hidden. Zara sat down, her body aching. Daniel pulled out the photo again. This was taken at a place called Site 9. My dad worked there. He used to say the government found something big, something not from Earth. Then one day, he disappeared. Zara leaned closer. The symbols behind you, that's our language, very old. Only used during peace talks centuries ago. Daniel looked confused. Peace talks? Zara nodded. Our ancestors visited Earth long ago. We tried to make contact, but your people feared us. Some tried to understand. Others tried to capture. Daniel's eyes darkened. What happened? Zara whispered. There was blood and silence. We never returned. Later, while Daniel worked on improving the signal with parts from her ship, Zara rested. Suddenly, she heard static. Her wrist device flashed. Zara, respond. She gasped and tapped it. Yes, I'm here. The voice returned. We traced your beacon, ship en route. 28 hours to arrival. Tears filled her eyes. Thank you. But the joy lasted only seconds. Outside, they heard dogs barking. Flashlights danced in the distant woods. Daniel looked up. They're sweeping the area. Zara turned to him. You should leave. They're after me, not you. Daniel shook his head. They'll kill me anyway. I know too much now. Zara stood, her voice firm. Then we don't run anymore, we survive. Daniel looked at her. This alien girl, once afraid, now strong. He nodded. We survive. Back above ground, two agents in black vests stood near the crash site. One of them held a piece of Zara's ship, glowing with energy. He tapped his earpiece. Confirmed. Alien tech is active. Subject is still alive. The other agent lit a cigarette. Good. I want to see if the stories are true. What stories? The man smiled darkly. The ones where humans always win. The Signaldi storm shelter was quiet, too quiet. The soft hum of Zara's device was the only sound in the dim underground room. Daniel sat against the wall, tools in his lap, watching her closely as she stared at the blinking blue light on her wrist. 28 hours. She whispered, That's all I need to survive. Daniel nodded, and all I need to keep you alive. But even as he spoke, he didn't look confident. The moment felt heavy. He could feel it. Something out there was coming, and it wasn't just people with guns. It was something worse, orders without mercy. He stood up and opened a small hatch above them, a narrow periscope built into the shelter's roof. He looked through it carefully. Outside, night had fallen, but the darkness wasn't empty. Red laser dots scanned the trees. Shadows moved without sound. Footsteps crunched over dead leaves like whispers from death itself. They're getting closer, Daniel said. Zara adjusted her device. A sharp spark burned her finger. The signal is still too weak. I need a higher point to send the full message. Daniel hesitated. You'll have to go topside. Zara nodded, but not yet, he added. Hours passed slowly. Zara and Daniel sat side by side, eating quietly. Neither said much, but their silence was no longer full of fear. It was full of understanding. Shared danger had turned strangers into something more. Zara looked at Daniel. Back on my planet, we're taught to protect our own. If someone helps you, you never forget them. Even across lifetimes. Daniel smiled faintly. Sounds better than what I was taught. What's that? Trust no one. Zara looked at him for a long moment. You trusted me. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. Suddenly, the shelter's lights flickered. A high-pitched whine filled the room. Zara's device buzzed again, this time with a different tone. She gasped. This isn't my people. It's another signal, stronger, from Earth. She tapped into it. A message appeared on the device's cracked screen. Subject located. Do not engage. Asset must be retrieved alive. Daniel stood up sharply. They've locked onto you. Zara's hands shook. They're close. Too close. Then the sound of digging echoed from above. Daniel's eyes widened. They found the shelter. He grabbed her hand. No more hiding. They climbed out of the back tunnel, a narrow escape route that led to the edge of a dried-up riverbed. The forest was darker now, but the air buzzed with tension. Far behind them, voices barked orders, flashlights danced. Drones hovered like silent birds. They ran without stopping. Branches scratched Zara's face. Her legs screamed with pain, but she kept going. Ahead, Daniel pointed. There, the signal tower. It's old, but it's the highest point for miles. They reached a rusted metal tower half buried in vines. Zara didn't wait. She climbed fast. Despite her shaking hands, Daniel followed close behind. From the top, they could see everything. The forest below, the crash site glowing faintly in the moonlight, and the black trucks closing in like wolves. Zara attached her device to the tower's broken antenna. A spark, a flash, then a clear, strong pulse of light shot into the sky. Her voice trembled as she spoke into the communicator. This is Zara of Valura, crash survivor. Requesting immediate pickup, Earth location locked, human ally assisting. The message repeated once, twice, then the device went silent. I did it, she whispered. They'll come. But then bang! A bullet struck the metal near her foot. Below, soldiers were aiming at the tower. Daniel shouted. Down, Zara dropped flat as another shot rang out. Daniel climbed over her, shielding her body with his own. We have to move, now, but before they could descend, a loud voice echoed through a megaphone. Alien subject, surrender now. You are surrounded. The human with you will not be harmed if you comply. Zara looked at Daniel. They're lying, she said. Daniel nodded. I know, more bullets, closer this time. The tower began to shake. Zara single quotes as eyes filled with fear. I won't let them take you. You helped me. You gave me safety. Daniel looked at her. I made my choice the day I opened that ship door. Suddenly, the sky above them shimmered. A faint blue light appeared like a crack in the air. Zara's device blinked again. Rescue ship in low orbit. Extraction window, 10 minutes. Coordinates confirmed. She looked down. The soldiers were climbing. There was no time. Daniel reached into his bag and pulled out a flare gun. He handed it to Zara. Fire this into the sky when you reach the clearing. What about you? She asked. I'll draw them away. I know. These woods, I'll be fine. You might die. He smiled. Maybe, but at least I won't be one of them. Zara ran down the hill, through the trees, heart pounding like thunder. She didn't look back. Daniel took a different path, shouting and throwing smoke bombs he made from kitchen chemicals. Explosions filled the air. Soldiers split up, confusion everywhere. Zara reached the clearing, the same place her ship had once crashed. The wind blew strangely now, like something huge was coming. She fired the flare. A second passed, then the sky ripped open. A ship like a silver bird descended from the clouds. It didn't roar, it sang. Energy danced across its surface like living light. Zara stood still, watching the beauty of her people's technology. She'd never felt so close to home, and yet so far from it. A hatch opened. Two figures stepped out. In glowing armor, Zara of Valura, one said. We came for you. Zara took a deep breath. I'm not going without him. They looked confused. Who? A human, Daniel. He risked everything. One of them shook their head. This is not allowed. The rules, Zara's voice cut through the air like a blade, then changed the rules. Secrets of the past. Smoke still rose from the forest. Zara watched from the open hatch of the rescue ship, her heart torn in two. Her people stood behind her, waiting to leave. Their faces were calm, cold, and unreadable, the way Valurans had trained themselves to be after centuries of watching other species from afar. But Zara couldn't be calm. Not while Daniel was still down there. He'd saved her life again and again. She looked at the tall armored officer standing near her. His name was Commander Alice, leader of the scout retrieval team. We have 7 minutes left in Earth's atmospheric window, he said in a robotic voice. After that, we cannot stay. Zara clenched her fists. He's down there, Daniel. I won't leave without him. Commander Alice didn't blink. A human, your personal feelings are clouding judgment. Zara stepped closer. He risked everything for me. If he dies while I run, I won't return, ever. The two Velaron soldiers beside Alice shifted uncomfortably. The commander stared at her, then nodded once. You have 3 minutes. Daniel was bleeding. He'd taken a hit in the leg during the escape. His smoke bombs had worked, but not for long. A soldier had found him, shouted for backup, and then everything became noise and panic. Now he lay behind a fallen tree, his breath ragged. He could hear boots approaching. He held a small blade in one hand, the only thing left in his bag. He was ready to fight. Then, the sound of a whisper, not human, a blue glow behind him. He turned. It was Zara. She reached for him, eyes wide with panic. Come on, they're here. Daniel blinked. You came back. Of course I did, she said, grabbing his arm. Shut up and move. Back on the ship. Alarms were starting. Commander Alice paced near the control panel. If they don't Return in 1 minute, we seal the hatch. That's protocol, but the young pilot looked uncertain. Sir, she's the daughter of Counselor Vera. Alice narrowed his eyes. She broke protocol by bonding with a human. Council title means nothing here. Then, the sensors blinked. Movement to life signs. Running fast. Zara and Daniel burst through. The trees, dirt on their faces, breath heavy, the ship's ramp lowered just in time. They collapsed inside as the hatch sealed. Moments later, Earth fell away. The ship pierced the clouds, shot through the atmosphere, and disappeared into the black sea of space. Daniel looked out the window, eyes wide. He had never seen anything like it. Stars, real stars. Not tiny dots from Earth, but blazing, burning lights across infinity. Zara sat beside him. Neither said anything for a long time. The ship docked inside a larger Veleron cruiser. Its hulls were bright white and eerily silent. Velurans walked past them, heads high, never making eye contact. Zara led Daniel through the corridors. Why are they all so quiet? He whispered. They don't trust you, she said. Most of them don't trust anyone. They entered a private chamber with holographic walls, the door sealed behind them. Daniel turned slowly. I thought they'd arrest me. Zara smiled. Faintly, they would have. But I'm not just anyone. Then, from the far wall, a figure appeared. A tall woman in flowing robes, her hair shimmered like silver threads. Her voice echoed gently. Zara, she said. My daughter. Daniel's eyes widened. Zara didn't move. Mother, the woman, Counselor Vera, looked at Daniel with a gaze that could freeze fire. So, she said coldly, this is the human you risked our entire mission for. Daniel tried to speak, but his throat was dry. Zara stepped forward. He saved my life. Because he caused it to be in danger, Vera said sharply. Zara snapped back. No, we crashed. He found me, he helped me, again and again. Counselor Vera walked slowly toward Daniel. You were the son of Robert Haynes. Daniel's head snapped up. You knew my father? She nodded. He was one of the first humans who discovered us. Decades ago, he decoded our ancient signals. We allowed contact, carefully, quietly. Zara's eyes widened. He was part of the first contact. Yes, Vera said. He was brilliant and dangerous because he wanted peace. Your human leaders didn't. Daniel's fists clenched. They killed him. Vera nodded slowly. Because he believed your kind could change. He was wrong. No. Zara said. He was right. Daniel is proof of that. Vera looked at her daughter. And what if this is all a trick? What if Earth only pretends to fear us to get closer, to destroy us from within? Daniel stood up. Then why would I run from them too? They wanted to catch me as well. Zara touched her mother's arm. He's not just some human. He's part of the story, and we don't even know how deep. Vera stared for a long moment, then spoke. There is something your father left behind, Daniel. A message, hidden in an old outpost, one only he and I knew existed. If you want to prove yourself, we'll go there. Daniel nodded. I'll go. That night, Zara sat alone, watching stars pass outside the cruiser window. Daniel entered quietly. You okay? He asked. She didn't turn. My people don't trust easily. Neither do mine, he replied. She looked at him. I feel like we're both stuck between two worlds. Not human, not Veleron, something else. Daniel sat beside her. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Then he looked her in the eyes. What? If your people ask you to choose, them or me? Zara didn't blink. Then I'll make a new choice they've never seen before. Far below, back on Earth, a dark room lit up with red lights. A man in a gray suit stared at a broken drone screen. He whispered to his team, get the deep storage files, Project Valera. Wake the old scientists, and prepare the retrieval program. One agent asked, Sir, retrieval of what? The man smiled. Not what, he said. Who? They're coming. Stars outside the Veleron ship shimmered like silent watchers. But the silence was deceptive. Something was moving in the dark, something from Earth. And it was coming fast. Zara stood inside the command chamber of the cruiser, eyes fixed on the holographic screen. Red dots blinked, unidentified objects moving from Earth's orbit into deep space. How is that possible? She asked, voice sharp. Earth has no ships capable of interstellar travel. Commander Alice stared at the screen with a furrowed brow. They didn't, not before. The youngest crew member turned from his console. Intercept in 9 hours. They're using hybrid propulsion. Some parts are human, some are not. Zara's blood went cold. Not human. Then what are they using? The room went silent. Daniel stepped forward. They're using Veleron tech, aren't they? Commander Alice nodded slowly. Stolen or salvaged. Zara turned to Daniel. From the crash site, your people must have taken parts of my ship. Daniel's hands clenched into fists. They always go after what they don't understand. If they couldn't control you, they'd try to copy you. Zara's voice dropped to a whisper, and now they're coming. Hours earlier, deep beneath the Earth's surface. Inside an old military base codenamed Black Hollow, a cold chamber hummed to life. Scientists in black coats stood around a cryogenic pod. Inside floated something ancient, not quite human, not quite Veleron, a hybrid. A voice crackled through the intercom. Proceed with Phase 3. The scientists obeyed. The pod opened. A pale figure stepped out, tall, smooth-skinned, with human eyes and alien veins glowing faintly beneath the surface. It blinked once, then spoke in a voice that echoed across the steel room. Zara is alive. The lead scientist's hands trembled. You remember her? The being smiled faintly. She was there when I was made. The scientist nodded. Your mission is to bring her back, alive. The others, optional. The hybrid's eyes burned brighter. Then I will retrieve what was taken. Back on the Veleron cruiser, Daniel stood in a silent chamber. A large circular terminal glowed before him. This was the archive where all Veleron memory data was stored, even those locked by council order. Zara entered behind him. This is where the truth lives, she said. Daniel reached into his pocket and pulled out the small photo, the one of him and his father standing in front of the ancient symbols. I need to know what he found, he said. Wyeth tried to bury it. Zara nodded. She pressed her hand against the terminal, and the room came alive with light. A memory played in the air like a ghost trapped in time. It showed Robert Haynes, Daniel's father, years younger, standing beside a Veleron envoy. Robert spoke. We found the ruins in Antarctica. Not built by humans, older than anything, covered in symbols, the envoy replied. Those aren't ruins, they are warnings. Another memory. Robert arguing with Earth officials. We don't understand what we've touched. This tech, it speaks, it remembers. If we awaken it, the feed cut off. Zara looked at Daniel. Your father tried to stop them. Daniel's voice cracked, and they killed him for it. She stepped closer. There's more. She activated the final locked file. A map appeared, showing several locations on Earth glowing in red. One was labeled Project Seed. Zara froze. That's not just tech storage, that's a cloning facility. Daniel turned sharply. Cloning? Zara nodded. Your people didn't just steal Veleron parts, they made something from it. A living weapon. Daniel's eyes widened in horror. Then that's what's coming. Hours later, the Veleron ship went dark, not by accident. By attack. A strange wave of energy hit the cruiser, cutting power across all systems. Emergency lights blinked weakly. The crew shouted in confusion. Zara rushed to the bridge. Report. The pilot's voice shook. Something hit us, but there was no impact. Like it reached inside and pulled the power out. Then a new signal appeared on the screen, not from Earth, not from space, but from inside the ship. Unauthorized life form aboard, said the system. Zara looked at Daniel. They're already here. Somewhere deep in the lower levels of the cruiser. Two Veleron guards walked through a dark hallway, flashlights scanning the walls. One of them paused. Do you hear that? A low whisper, like a voice inside their minds, then a blur. Both guards screamed and fell silent. Moments later, the hybrid stepped out of the shadows, blood on its hands. It walked with purpose, no rush, no hesitation. It knew where Zara would be, on the bridge. Red lights flared. He's moving fast, said Alice. 1 deck per minute, killing as he goes. Zara turned to Daniel. You have to leave. Take an escape pod, now. Daniel shook his head. I'm not leaving you again. You can't fight this. Maybe not, he said, pulling out a strange cylindrical device from his bag. But I can slow it down. Zara blinked. Where did you get that? Daniel gave a small smirk. I'd borrowed it from your ship. It's an overload emitter. I figured you might need it someday. Zara grabbed his hand. That thing could kill you. He looked her in the eyes. If it saves you. Worth it. The lights above them flickered again. The hybrid entered the hallway outside the bridge. Alice into guards opened fire, energy blasts hitting its body, but doing nothing. It raised one hand, and they flew backward, slammed against the walls. Unconscious. Zara stood in the middle of the bridge. The hybrid stepped forward slowly. You don't belong with them, it said. You're not Veleron. Not anymore. I am, Zara said. I choose who I am. It tilted its head. They made me from your DNA. From your ship. I am your shadow. Your mistake. Zara raised her weapon. No, she said. You're their mistake. The hybrid raised its hand. Daniel stepped between them and activated the emitter. The light exploded. The hybrid screamed, not in pain, but confusion. It backed away as its form began to flicker. The emitter was destabilizing its cloned code. Now, Daniel shouted. Zara fired once, twice, 3 times. The hybrid collapsed, gasping, more will come. It whispered, you've only delayed the end, and then it vanished into dust. Silence fell across the bridge. Zara turned to Daniel, breathing heavily. You okay? He nodded slowly. Yeah. But I think we both know this isn't over. Zara stared out the window into space. Double quotes. No, it's just beginning, far away, deep inside Earth's secret vaults. Another chamber lit up. Inside were 3 more pods. Each one held a hybrid, each one opened slowly. And one whispered a name. Zara. The choice asterisk. The stars outside the Veleron cruiser no longer looked peaceful, they looked like eyes watching. Waiting. Zara stood in silence on the bridge, her pulse racing, her mind spinning. The hybrid was gone, dust on the floor, but its words still echoed inside her. You've only delayed the end. Across the chamber, Daniel leaned against the wall. Exhausted and pale, but alive, he looked at her. We both heard it. There's more. This was only a scout, Zara nodded. And Earth won't stop until they own what they don't understand. Commander Alice entered, face grim. We intercepted a new signal. Earth just launched 3 more vessels, full stealth. Modified Veleron cores, clones aboard, the hybrids are mass-producing. Daniel cursed under his breath. They used your crash to reverse engineer everything. Zara stepped forward. We have to act before they reach orbit. Alice hesitated. There's another option. She turned to him. I'm listening. He tapped the console. A hologram of Earth expanded in the air. There's a failsafe protocol. If we target the atmosphere with quantum disruptors, we can disable all hybrid signals. Stop them from functioning forever. Zara blinked. Disrupt Earth's atmosphere? Not enough to destroy it, he said. Just enough to black out tech, ground their ships, silence their communication. Daniel's face went cold. That would knock out power grids, hospitals, planes, everything. Alice nodded. Yes, but no war. Zara's voice was quiet. Millions would suffer, millions may die if we don't. Alice snapped. A pause, a breath, then he said, your people await your word. Zara, you carry council blood. They'll follow your command. Later in her private chamber, Zara sat alone, her thoughts a storm. She stared at a holo screen showing Earth from above, blue, bright, fragile. She remembered Daniel's soup. His fireplace, his fear, and his kindness. Not all humans are the same, but not all were like Daniel. Her mother's voice echoed from memory. Compassion is rare, rarer still when it survives fear. The door opened. Daniel entered slowly, a faint limp in his step. You're deciding me, aren't you? She nodded. He walked beside her, staring at his homeworld. My people stole from yours, they lied. They build weapons with your DNA, they hunted you. Zara looked at him. And you protected me. Every step. Daniel gave a tired smile. I guess I'm not very good at being a typical human. Silence stretched between them like a fragile thread. Then she asked the question she'd been afraid to ask. If I stop Earth with force, will you hate me? Daniel didn't answer right away. Then, quietly, I'll hate what has to be done, not the one who does it. The next morning, Zara stood before the Veleron High Council. Connected remotely through a stellar bridge, 12 faces, flickering like ghosts in silver flames, waited in silence. You carry the blood of Vera, one said. You are her only child, the one destined to speak for your generation. Zara spoke clearly, calmly. Earth has stolen our tech, made hybrids, sent warships. A pause. But Earth has also shown us something unexpected. She looked down, then up again. A single human saved me. Not because he was told to, not because he wanted anything, but because it was right. Murmurs among the council. Zara continued. We've feared them, hated them. But we never truly tried to understand them, just as they never tried to understand us. She raised her voice. Let us not make them our enemies because of their fear. Let us teach them what they never learned, that mercy is stronger than power. Counselor Alon spoke. Then you refused the disruptor plan. Zara closed her eyes. Yes, a long silence, then one by one. The council nodded. But Earth wasn't waiting. High above the planet, the stolen Earth hybrid fleet was already climbing into orbit. Sleek black vessels with cores that pulsed like stolen Veleron hearts. Inside the lead ship, a hybrid commander stood before his troops. Each was silent, each was made in secret, target locked, Veleron cruiser in range. The hybrid raised its hand, fire, missiles launched. Fast, precise, but the Veleron ship was ready. Blue shields bloomed like flowers across the hull. The first missile hit, but bounced away, bursting in space. The crew reacted instantly. Defense patterns formed, drones deployed. And yet, the hybrids were not alone. A secret human strike team had launched too, hidden aboard the second hybrid vessel. Humans with guns, armor, and orders. Capture the alien girl alive. Bring back the tech, kill the rest. Inside the Veleron ship, alarm screamed. Zara stood beside Commander Alice. We have boarders incoming, he said. A mixed unit, hybrids and humans. Zara looked at Daniel. They're after me. Daniel nodded. Then let's not make it easy. The battle inside the ship was brutal. Laser fire cut through halls. Hybrids moved like shadows, immune to pain. Veleron guards fought with graceful fury, elegant, fast, relentless. Daniel took a rifle from a fallen soldier. He wasn't trained for this. But fear had left him days ago. Only resolve remained. In one corridor, he faced down a hybrid. It looked like a twisted mirror of himself. Same height, same face, only empty. It spoke. You are obsolete. I am the future. Daniel aimed. Then let's see if the future bleeds. Zara reached the main core chamber. The hybrids were nearly there, but she was faster. She placed her hand on the ship's energy conduit. A soft light spread from her skin into the system. Authorization granted. Her voice echoed into the ship. All Veleron systems, activate Project Halo. Alice blinked. That hasn't been tested. Zara didn't look back. Then this is the test. The ship exploded with light, not destruction. Reprogramming. Veleron tech didn't just fight. It adapted. Inside the hybrid vessels, systems began to fail. Power flickered, weapons jammed. The hybrids twitched, confused. And one by one, they fell, not from bullets, from Zara's voice. Her code had reached them. She had overwritten their orders. Silence returned. Only the stars remained. And Earth far below watched. Later, Daniel and Zara stood in the observation deck. The battle was over. Survivors were treated. Debris floated like broken promises across space. Zara turned to Daniel. You could go back now. Your people might listen to you this time. Daniel looked down at Earth. They'll listen, but I don't think I belong there anymore. She smiled sadly. I don't think I ever belonged anywhere. Daniel reached out, gently taking her hand. Maybe we can build somewhere new together. Weeks passed. A message was sent to Earth, not of war, but of warning. Valera would not destroy them. But they were watching, and they would not allow another mistake. Zara stood before the United Veleron Assembly. She spoke not as a warrior, not as a daughter, but as a bridge. Between worlds. And for the first time in centuries, the stars felt closer. The end.